Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 742, Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Takamolda, and I am, of course, joined on this glorious Friday by Chris DeBona.
Hello.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello, I'm feeling glorious.
Glorious!
You are glorious, man.
I say glorious because it
Thanks, man.
starts with a G, and I like to alliterate, and that makes me happy.
Great.
I know, I'm kind of lame that way.
Good work.
I did it. Okay, I think the last one that we had
Goofball.
was Japan declares war on floppy disks.
Japan declares war on floppy disks.
Which, first of all, when Japan declares war on things, that's never good.
I do
Wow.
like that. I do like that they always use those masers, though. Like
Oh,
I'm
in
wondering
anime?
if they're
Yeah.
well, or in Godzilla movies too.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they are shooting the floppy disks with electricity.
I've always loved the word maser, gazer. There's some really cool Azer-related words. you
Hazer?
know? Well, what would that be? Hypersonic amplified by stimulated emissions of radiation, which you
No,
use
that would
against
be the thing
Godzilla
that you,
menace?
that would be the thing that you use to make your house smoky.
Yeah.
Gazer?
hmm
That's not the same thing. We're talking about weapons against the kaiju menace.
Oh.
Yeah. And floppy disks.
And floppy disks. So the story is that, and this is kind of a weird follow-up, I guess, because recently I was reading a bunch of stories about how Japan is weirdly dependent on faxes.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Kind of like the mortgage industry.
kind of like the mortgage industry.
And the music licensing industry.
Like ASCAP.
Right, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. It's weird, but yeah, they've got a whole bunch of things where they're required to accept things on floppy disk, and that stuff just sticks in my craw, man.
Yeah.
I see that they're also going to war with other forms of obsolete media. Like, what's their deal with microfiche?
Yeah, and fuck 8-track.
Will it be like a celebration, like when we have the last case of polio? They're like,
Mhm.
this is the last piece of microfiche we could find in the entire country, and we finally got rid of it.
And we burned all the iron lungs. There was one guy
Yeah.
inside one. It was really awkward.
Yeah.
And,
They probably have like a problem that a lot of those formats are those weird proprietary Sony formats that Sony put out
Oh
with like
my
every
gosh.
generation of hardware. It's like, here's our new proprietary copyright enforced data storage thing. It's like, come on, Sony, this didn't work with your last 53 handheld devices. Why are you still trying this?
It's so frustrating.
Stop it, Sony. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
And they're like, we just made $3 billion off of Spider-Man. We got to blow it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to ruin it.
You know how many people watched Morbius? Suckers! Here's a new mini disc format.
I watched Morbius in the theater.
It wasn't
I did
Morbin
not.
time.
It was
What?
horrible.
Did you see that it was like the most streamed movie recently on, I can't remember
Morbius?
which format it was.
It's
Yeah.
Morbin time, baby.
Is it like a B movie thing where like there's some meme where you every time Jared Leto like pretends he's falling over, you increase the
Yeah.
speed 2 times?
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
That makes sense.
That was a rough movie to get through.
I mean, it's
I have
really
yet to
bad.
achieve that.
It's
that
really
milestone.
bad. Like,
Yeah.
like uncomfortably bad.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, and you know me. I find love.
You have terrible taste.
I find love in mediocre movies, and I actively watch very bad movies for the thrill of watching very bad movies.
It's like, do you remember that scene in The Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is trying to get the ring from Bilbo, and Bilbo's face contorts monstrously, and he
Yeah.
growls at him for just a second? It's like if they took that scene and made that a movie. That is what Morbius is.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad because like I kind of like Matt Smith. I hate Jared Leto. Like I don't think I've ever liked Jared Leto in anything.
Yeah, he has like some weird sex cult, doesn't he?
Fight Club, right? That's like the only thing maybe that he was cool in, but I don't know. Well, let's see. You already mentioned Lord of the Rings.
I
so
did?
Well, Rob did. So I guess we have a couple of Lord of the Rings related stories.
Are you orienting on new again, or are you hot?
I don't know what I am. I will look.
Okay.
I am organizing on hot. Let me change to new.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, you should probably.
Oh, Lord of the Rings. There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, they apparently deleted some reviews because they're like, you know how you've asked us to do something about fake reviews forever. Well, here you go.
We figured we'd start by doing it with our productions.
Sure.
Right. But I guess in their defense, there's a whole bunch of shenaniganery occurring with the reviews on the show, just like what happens now with every show that a certain demographic doesn't like. And then they just review bomb it. So like you get these weird cases where every story or every review is either 1 star or 10 star. It's like, really? That tells me that something is wrong with your system.
Yeah, I think the kids call it getting ratioed. I don't know.
Yeah, ratioed.
That could also be what based is. I'm not really sure what based is, just for the record. I mean, basting is like barbecue, right?
Yeah,
But
it's delicious.
baste, it's like dropping the baste, but it's not 2 S's. So I'm
Nope.
confused and old.
We are very old.
All I have to say is welcome back to Middle Earth. Have you guys watched it? Did you
Yeah.
like it? You know?
I did watch the first
I've
2 episodes.
watched. I've watched 2 episodes.
You know?
I'm gonna watch episode 3 as soon as we're done here.
Okay.
Like if the production staff was like, "Can you give me notes?" I could definitely give them notes.
Sure.
But
I mean, so we could have done that with the Hobbit movies, you know?
oh, for sure. The
Much
Hobbit
easier.
movies are great if you like watching.
If you like
things
sleeping.
if you like things chasing other things, there's
Mm.
all sorts of things chasing things in that movie.
Hours of it.
But you know, I don't really know what you would expect from an Amazon production of The Lord of the Rings,
I mean,
especially
The Lord of the Rings
if
was
it- if it's-
basically a walk across the world, right? A walk
yeah,
across the-
especially if it's a prequel and that they don't have rights to much of the material.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna. I don't know how you would make anything other than what they made.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, the main name drops, I guess, Galadriel and Elrond are major characters, but pretty much nothing
Whoa.
else. I mean, okay, so I liked it. I enjoyed it just fine.
Yeah.
I don't like if it wasn't connected to Lord of the Rings in any meaningful way, I don't think that it would matter all that much. Because it's not super connected like to characters or anything. They're referencing the same mythos.
Yeah.
But like a lot of that stuff, you can just kind of change some names and whatever. Your god is not named Morgoth or whatever. Your bad god can be named something slightly else, and they wouldn't have to have been that different of a show. I think the production design is fantastic. I think it looks really great. I think a lot of the performances are really good.
Yeah, and they try to throw in a little bit of history. So if you don't know the story, you kind of know the story, but I almost wish they hadn't, because what little they touch on seems very confusing. And I'm pretty sure that they have Gandalf arrive, spoiler alert, via meteor, and I'm not kidding, Chris. You'll think I am not kidding that he arrives on the scene.
I'm sorry, I just rebooted. Are you guys okay? I mean, I
inside a
thought you
meteor.
said that Gandalf
Yeah,
the Grey arrived via meteor.
yeah. So
That's how they travel. That's
That's
Meyer.
no.
That's like a Meyer Uber.
Ooh.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, there's that.
I'm holding out hope. I haven't watched episode 3 yet. I'm holding out hope that's not Gandalf, but I think it is.
Well, the only other thing I could think is like, no, that can't be.
There are 2 unnamed Maiar in the books, right? So it could be either of them. But still.
Well,
yeah.
Saruman is one, and
Right.
so is the bird.
Radagast.
Yeah, Radagast.
But the other 2 are unnamed, and there were 5.
Right.
So I guess that's the choice, right? But you know what? I like that the show kind of only has like 3 stories kind of going.
I'm pretty sure it's Gandalf though,
Yeah.
because if you notice, the like rucksack that they give him to
Yeah.
wear suddenly looks a lot like his cloak.
I
at the
know.
very beginning of
I know.
of The Hobbit, right? So,
I know. But no,
Is it Ian McKellen? Who is
no,
it
it's just
playing
some
Gandalf?
dude.
Just some dude. It's not
Just
even
some
like the
dude.
right dude.
No, it's just like
I'm
a
outraged.
dude.
I'm gonna go review
not
it
even
now.
him.
Yeah, 1 star,
Well,
writing it down.
He's too old to arrive via meteor
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. He comes
he's
on a
gotta-
wheelchair.
Yeah, he's got a few more X-Men movies to do, so he has to stay in good health.
His meteor has actually got tennis balls on the bottom, so he doesn't slip.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I like though is that there's kind of only like 3 stories happening, which is kind of in opposed to the Game of Thrones thing, where there's like 68 things happening in that show. And it's unclear, at least from where I am in it, what things I should really be caring about, because they're throwing so many names and so many locations and so many events at me that I just like I kind of shut down. Like give me a protagonist, or give me a band of protagonists with a common goal. These are nice things to have. Even things like Doom Patrol. They generally over the course of the season ultimately had a common threat that they worked together against, and the stories generally led you towards that. I don't get that with the Game of Thrones thing, but maybe we'll get that here, because at least here though there's kind of 3 locations, 3 stories kind of going that we care about. I can deal with that. Don't overwhelm me, man. I'm dumb.
Well, you're not dumb.
I'm at least average. Well, let's see. We've got.
You make up for it with your work ethic.
Yeah. Are you talking about the person who hasn't had a job in 7 years? Let's see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. We've got the Artemis got delayed again.
What?
I know.
So when I first saw this, because I knew about the hydrogen leak and all the rest, but I read this as leak, like information leak about a bid for a rocket contract, which shows you how broken I am inside and how sad I am.
Well, I actually looked up on Google when the next SLS launch was, and since the first, the actual, not even the first hit, the thing where Google does the thing where they slurp the copyrighted text off of somebody else's website and embed it into the search results, that says that the next result is 9 days ago, the next launch. Okay. So I don't know when the next launch will be. The next launch attempt.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, they have the problem that they might have to take it off the pad and hit the reboot button on the battery for the launch ejection system or some nonsense like that.
I hadn't heard where they finally landed on that, because last I heard they were going to try to fix it on the pad. But
okay, good. Yeah. We're not gonna launch until it's right.
Great. We're gonna have they had a meeting yesterday, they said.
Well, thank God he said that, right?
Yeah. Thanks. That helped.
They're just gonna put some of that not liquid plumber, JB Weld. Yeah,
JB Weld. Yeah. That's what they say about NASA engineering.
Just some Flex Seal around,
Flex tape.
all the little
duct
moving
tape
parts.
That'll do her.
Just make sure it's fill it in real good. Get some of that expanding foam on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Flex tape fixes everything, man.
Yep.
Well, anyway, maybe we'll see the SLS launch for, another $1 billion inside of our lifetime. Sigh. No, I lost my tab. Gotta find what the next story was. So okay, there's been more diffusion stories, stable
more
diffusion.
disco diffusion.
More disco diffusion. Well, somebody put up a video with generated with diffusion. And you should watch that if you want some nightmare fuel.
Oh, really?
It's pretty messed up. It's pretty cool. I actually installed Stable Diffusion on my machine and was playing with it yesterday, but I couldn't really get anything fun with it.
Oh boy, that's hard to watch.
I know. It's like weird, like in that. I mean, it's really cool, but
it's really cool, but honestly, it's scarier and more interesting than Morbius.
I thought this was a scene.
I was just gonna say, I think Cronenberg's out of a job now.
Yeah,
they did it. They made the Cronenberg app.
Whoever is afraid of what is the spider eyes? There's like an ohophylactery or whatever, where people are afraid of spider eye arrangements. Mm-hmm. Do not watch this.
It's cool though.
Yeah, I want to hear the music though. Like
what's the one about openings? You're afraid of openings.
All right, that's now at least you know why they got that. It mentions skeletons, so it has to look spooky.
Yeah, a little too spooky.
A little too spooky. Anyway, there's the stable diffusion stuff though. It's been everywhere for like the last couple weeks, and I'm fascinated about it, but not as fascinated with the US Forest Service having a guide to completely obliterating a horse with explosives.
This is a lot of TNT.
Yeah. This is funny to me because there's so much TNT there, because the goal of this would be that you literally obliterate the horse and not leave any bits that a bear could feed on or anything like that. That's why they've packed so much dynamite. And this is how much dynamite you have to use to break that horse up into such small pieces or cook it until it turns to ash, that literally would not attract a predator. So
the one good thing, I guess, is that this looks to me like the research on this was done a long time ago. Because if this kind of research was done recently, then I would feel really sad about wasting our tax dollars.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of dynamite, and I got to tell you, man, it looks to me like the other
dynamite
title,
lobby had a hand in it.
Yeah, the other title to this is "How many sticks of dynamite can you attach to a horse?"
Yeah,
I think that's.
So, they did this a long time ago. Someone nicknamed Bomber Bill.
Yep.
It's just like, well, I'm gonna need another horse.
I'm gonna need another grant for 450 sticks of dynamite and a horse.
Oh no, he's got the dynamite.
Oh yeah, he keeps it in his shed.
For sure, he's got enough dynamite.
Right. Okay, we got a story about a Tasmanian kid who cracked an intelligence agency secret code in an hour.
Yeah, so they released this coin.
It was Tasmanian.
That had can't remember how many different codes on it, but was there 5 levels of it?
Oh, you can buy the coin from the
That's
mint,
neat.
though.
Anyway, so there were hints on how to break the code on the front and back and all around it, and they, someone put this together and was like, it'll take at least a week. Someone who knows what they're doing to really put it together, and some like 14-year-old kid solved it in an hour.
It ain't like Cryptos at Langley.
So this was, as I was reading the story, this was kind of a marketing ploy. That this was how they were going to try to find people.
Nope, they're going to change one side of it anyway.
Part of the organization, right? And so the fact that a 14-year-old did it, they can't really hire him yet.
Well, can't they though?
You're the government, man. You just emancipate that kid.
Yeah, right? For sure.
Boom. Draft him.
I'm sorry, Timmy's been emancipated.
Pay him minimum wage.
Get him in the van.
Most money he's ever had in one time.
Yeah, you pay him in Snickers bars.
It's like, wait, I get $100?
Yep, and a case of Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 14. Good for that kid.
It's really hard to find out where to buy such things. I would love to buy one of these. It'd be fun to have. Probably on eBay. Some jerk on eBay.
I'm a little uncomfortable with what is it, like a 12-sided coin? Like there's
plenty of European and British notes that have that sort of.
I know there's too many edges, man. It's making me uncomfortable.
No.
We've got what's the kids yelling poop at Alexa?
That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, right.
It's
kind of like the silence and
a couple of these people sort of did this on purpose. I got from reading this article. They just figured out that anytime someone would yell poop, Alexa would go and try to find content like that. So they started putting out poop-oriented songs. So anytime someone said poop around the Alexa, their song would play. This other guy just evidently used it as a learning tool. He teaches, I think, autistic kids. And one of the things he does is he was teaching them how to write poetry and make songs. So they made a song about
poopy diaper butt stuff.
Yeah, poopy diaper butt stuff or whatever.
As you do.
And then he just loaded it up just for shits and giggles mostly. And he was so he looked at his bank account and was like, I have $10,000 now because Alexa is playing that stupid song every time anyone says poop around it.
Right.
So
It's shitty SEO, man, but it works.
yeah,
Well, we've seen this before with like people making silence,
Yeah.
bedtime stories.
You got the
and the
hour-long
rest.
silence track.
Oh, look, you can play it if you want. I'm
Uh,
not going to play it though.
if we
it's not
do,
very.
No,
we'll have to
It's
pay
not very
Mike
good.
Bielenberg
I can't do it.
0.0001 cents.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's building his
I'm
poop
sure he's got
empire
so
right
many.
now.
I'm gonna see how many views this thing has. Ooh. 151,000 views.
But the story is about him getting it through Alexa, which isn't going to be incorporated into
Well,
that number, I
Alexa to
suppose.
Spotify. So.
That's great though. Good on that guy, man. Live your dream.
Good on that guy. Live your dream. All right, bye.
Hey, guess what? Billy Mitchell's back.
Oh
good
no.
Lord.
Right? The Billy Mitchell case has continued forward. There's more research, although this seems like research like that we might have seen before. This is all like slow-mo scans of CRT screens presented against against MAME emulation, and basically they proved which version of MAME he was using for his faked scores, and it's just like not even like questionable because it just renders differently, like the objects appear in a different order.
It's hard for me to believe that he cheated, though. He's such
What?
a nice guy, right?
I mean,
and
next
hot
thing you'll be
sauce
telling me
magnet.
that his hot sauce has melamine in
So
it.
so pleasant. First time I talked to him, he's like, "Yeah, I heard all about you," and telling me all this stuff is obviously not true. I'm like, "Oh yeah, who have you been talking to?"
Well, I actually really liked the technical analysis part. It was an interesting read, but that sort of thing is my jam. And since I've actively been playing with FPGAs lately for retro video game rendering, that kind of was in my wheelhouse. But it's the Billy Mitchell story is one of those stories. I think that story might go forever. It might be like the Voyager probe.
It's really depressing.
Yeah. Although I guess the Voyager probe probably means a little more.
Yeah. Okay.
Quake
1 for the Apple Watch. We didn't talk about that.
No, we didn't. That's exactly what you think. There's a video that you can watch, which is just adorable. It's on the old Apple Watch, though. I think if you played it on the new Ultra Apple Watch, you'd be okay because that's a 45 millimeter screen, so that'd be a lot easier to actually see where you're going. But like the whole interface is just like 3 arrows and a shoot button.
Jeez.
Wow.
I imagine
59 frames per second.
Yeah, I mean it's rendering full tilt. I wonder how much battery it lasts.
Probably a fair amount.
I have an Apple Watch, and it almost never makes it through the day on full charge.
Oh, really?
I usually
Are you going to get the Ultra?
No, that thing looks like crap.
Does it?
It's gigantic. It's got like this weird lip around the edge, and also it's like for diving and running and hiking and stuff. And I'm not sure if you guys know about this about me, but I never leave my house. I'm not hardcore. I'm the opposite of hardcore. I'm softcore.
Well, you could fill your bathtub and do a little diving. I mean, it'd be very shallow.
I mean, it seems attractive, I guess, if you're into face watches.
I mean, so you can't really see in that picture because it's shot on a white background, but the faceplate to it like rides up with this squared off lip, and it looks awful.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah. No, you can't even see it on that picture, but when you see it shot on a darker background from the sides, it's like the edges of it are square. So you're going to hook that thing like on everything, like your sleeves and stuff. It's going to suck. I don't even like that the Apple Watch is too thick already, and that's thicker.
No. It's more sporty.
That ain't sporty. That's chonk.
I think that looks awful. I hate that dial.
Yeah, it's so chonky.
Do you know how full of crap that would get?
Yeah.
If you're actually doing this outdoor activity stuff, right? If you're outside really hiking or really going up the side of a mountain,
it's just gonna be annoying. Yeah. It's gonna catch on your sleeve if you're skiing. I don't know. I have a hard time carrying. The thing that I noticed were these bands. They look really uncomfortable. I don't know why. Maybe it's maybe I've got that disease again where you don't like lots of eyes or something.
Oh, yeah.
And look, this is like an angry bee face. Is that what they call it? The angry bumblebee face?
Maybe.
So.
I don't know. The bands to me look like what you'd put around your pit bull's neck.
Yeah, right. And then
It's
come back here, Pitty.
My Apple Watch, I am currently using a like $7 band that I got on Amazon because Apple charges like $300 for a metal band, and this is like $7.
Is it this edge here that you're talking about?
Like that squared off edge, you're gonna get that hooked on everything.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just not my cup of tea.
No, it's chonky and gross. I mean, the buttons.
I don't like any of the digital watches, to be honest.
You know, I don't care for them aesthetically, but I really, really, really like being able to get the haptic notification when I get a message. I like the buzz. It means if I can see who it is and decide if I want to go look at a real screen.
Yeah. I like the buzz too.
You like the buzz? Buzzy. Yeah, I definitely don't need that watch.
This looks like a reimagined recognizer from Tron.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I just watched a whole series of videos on the Intellivision Tron games yesterday.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I played all those when I was a kid and loved them and found some
no
video.
Link though? Why so cheap?
What?
Where you should have a link to it if you're going to speak about
it. I will put it up for the watchers to see tomorrow.
The subscribers.
The subscribers, yeah. Make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, share and enjoy.
Hit the bell.
Come on, Christopher.
I never hit the
bell. Tell us about MeUndies now.
Yeah, MeUndies and NordVPN.
For my hair, you know.
Tell us about the Hugos, Chris.
As you know, I like to go to the Hugos whenever I can, usually when it's in the States. And it was lovely. You know, all of because DisCon in DC last year was pretty small because of COVID and everything. So, but it was okay. And then this year was much bigger. And this is the base here for this year's Hugos because it's always the same rocket, but then the local science fiction nerds provide the base, right? So when it was in DC, cool. They used the stone from the same quarry that did the Washington Monument, so it was very evocative of DC. This one they did, that's the Chicago flag that everyone in Chicago just adores, made into the back with, I think it's walnut and larch or walnut and maple, and then aluminum that is made at a local place. And yeah, so it was it's a very nice understated.
Oh, thanks, Christopher, for smashing that like button. That's the first time anybody's liked one of our videos.
Oh, I think we've had people like it before. Yeah. So, anyways, lots of folks won. It was fun.
Anything worthy?
Yeah, I would say so. It's funny because there were so many Tour.com and Uncanny magazines in the short form stuff. It's like, if you want to win a Hugo, I know where you should go publish. But like Shauna McGuire, who, you ever meet someone who's so productive? You're like, how?
Yeah, I know a few of those.
Shauna makes like 2 books a year under her Shauna McGuire name, which I think is her real name. She does 2 books under Mira Grant in the horror genre. She has a romance novel that comes out under yet another name that I'm not familiar with. Then she does a bunch of short stories, and she also has all this time to do like editing and podcasting. I'm like, holy crow. I mean, you meet people like that and you're like, and I don't think she's on meth or anything. It's just, you're like, how, right? I mean, she's probably written 500,000 words a year for the last 10 years, maybe more.
That's insane.
Do all her stories exist in the same universe?
No. I mean, imagine a romance novel about mermaids that are actually horrible creatures that eat and consume you, while in the zombie blogger universe, it's a lot. That would be a lot.
I'm pretty sure that was a television show on the CW already.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like it got to the point during the awards where it's like, maybe you just stay up there. Like, she accepted an award for a friend, then she went up for her own award, and then
Well, they gave some awards to Dune.
Her own award, and yeah, I wouldn't have given it to Dune. Honestly, there were other things up that I thought were more deserving. Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't vote for Dune because I felt it was a fine adaptation, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Exactly. It's great. It's not world changing.
Yeah, but they had Encanto, they had Space Sweepers, they had the Green Knight.
Space Sweepers?
Yeah, it was a Korean
I saw
space
it.
opera, yeah. Which I didn't watch. Did you like it?
No.
I didn't vote for it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, unimpressed by Space Sweepers.
Unimpressed? I am
unimpressed.
Shocked.
Which is hard for me because, as we've discussed many times in the past, I can find much love in the mediocre. Well,
well, I'm trying to find the list of nominees. I apologize that I'm taking a long time.
It does not matter. But
it does.
Is there any good media that's worthy watching this weekend?
That's a good question.
Thor is out on streaming now. If you haven't
yeah,
seen
no.
Thor.
So Dune won over WandaVision, and I was like, I thought WandaVision was a better,
Yeah, I think WandaVision was the first 7 episodes.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, yeah. And yeah, short form. So, 1 second. Short form was The Expanse Nemesis Games, which was fine. I get it. But also nominated was For All Mankind's The Gray, which
For All Mankind is
season
really
finale
good.
for 3. That was a great episode.
Yeah, it was.
And so it was hard to, yeah.
It's hard to pick favorites.
It's hard to pick favorites, darling. So yeah, that's all. It was a world con.
Well, Top Gun Maverick is out on streaming now too. If you guys are.
Oh yeah, no, I watched it on the plane.
Oh, that's like literally the worst way to watch that movie.
But it's about planes, Rob.
That's true. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at no point did your 737 do a barrel roll.
That's true. I mean, it was okay.
So here's the thing: I did not like the movie Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no interest in watching the update or sequel or whatever the hell they're trying to say. Like he's an instructor in this now, right?
Kinda.
A reluctant instructor.
He has to come back to train them for the mission that nobody thinks can be done.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's and it's funny because they avoid saying the enemy, who the enemy actually is.
It's kind of ambiguous and
you're gonna have to go
so.
up against 5th generation fighters if you're not careful. And
right.
Like,
I actually really enjoyed it.
You know what? Let me point out. It actually had the plot of Battleship.
Oh,
let me explain. So, spoiler warning
for Battleship.
No, for Maverick too. So in Battleship, you'll remember at the end they revive the Missouri,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, or Mississippi, the Missouri to go and do away with the more advanced fighters. At the end of Maverick, they do the same thing with an old jet, playback, right, to the first movie, and they fly it against the 5th generation fighters, and of course they're victorious. So
the whole slow blade gets through the shields thing. Right?
Kinda, yeah.
Sure, but the problem, I'll be honest with you, the problem with Maverick is, and problem with Top Gun, boy, it's thin. They're like, okay, and now you will feel this way. Oh, here is an exciting thing. I assure you it is exciting. And you're just like, yeah, okay.
See, I look at it purely as being the distillation of the blockbuster to its core elements. I respect that. I think that is.
But you don't have to watch it. It's
why wouldn't I? It's well crafted. It's well performed. The action is excellent. It is very, very shallow.
Extremely well executed, like everything else Tom Cruise does.
Yeah,
really remarkably executed.
Although I think the Mission Impossible movies are often teetering on good. I just rewatched the first Mission Impossible and really enjoyed it.
Okay. I'll allow that. Turns out I have a hard stop in 2 minutes. I apologize.
All right, then let's say goodbye. to Robert Roseboom.
Goodbye.
And goodbye to Chris DeBona.
And remember, Battleship and Top Gun Maverick, the same movie.
Same movie.
Same movie.
All right, that was episode 742 of Geeks in Space. I was Rob Commander Taco Malta, and if you're lucky, we'll see you next week. Bye.